Good Wednesday evening again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Tailgate Talk Nebraska. We're one man short tonight. Well, I don't know, man. We're one person short tonight, but out in Colorado with us as always, live via satellite, Brian Denton. In the house, you got the old school gentleman. You got Jeff Green, myself, Derek. We are here to bring you an hour, maybe a little over an hour plus of some good college football, NFL football talk. We may even touch a little bit on the baseball playoffs. They're happening right
They
now.
are
We've got
happening.
some good stuff going on there. I don't know who everybody's rooting for out there. But guys, let's dive in. College football last Saturday, and I want to bring up this. Two teams. They were ranked first and second in some polls at the beginning of the year. Both of them have now dropped out. Penn State, Texas. Which team is in more trouble right now? If you take a look, Texas has lost to Ohio State, the now number one team in the nation. They lost at the Swamp in Florida, which Jeff Green proudly predicted last week. Penn State, tough game at home against Oregon, but then you go on the road to UCLA, guys, and got manhandled. I mean, really. Nico looked good for once. They do have some new coaches out in UCLA. Is UCLA now figuring it out, or is Penn State just not as good as
That
we
was a
thought?
bad loss,
Yeah,
but it came on the footsteps of a great loss. I mean, they had Oregon on the ropes. They were one play away from putting that game away. I know that it turned bad, but from that interception, they went to UCLA and it looks like they left everything on the field back in Oregon. Or back in
Happy about. You know, I would agree. I think at this point the worst loss is Penn State to UCLA by far between the two. I think Penn State will jump back easier than Texas though. I honestly think Texas is not looking good. Arch Manning's not looking good. It's not looking good in Texas right now. I think Penn State will come back. However, I think Franklin's got to be on the hot seat. You got to have Franklin on the hot seat.
But Texas is a bad team. That's why they can't bounce back. They're a bad team in a good conference, and they're going to go up against it. And I mean, do you think they can beat Ole Miss?
what do you think they can
And
beat
LSU?
Oklahoma this
Oh
weekend?
no, I don't. I do not.
Red River rivalry shootout, whatever you want to call it. You got Texas, Oklahoma. I'm still glad to see that series going for the Texas State Fair. But I think going into this game now, beginning of the year, if you would have looked at this, you would have probably thought, well, Texas might go in with one loss, maybe undefeated going into that.
Yeah.
Oklahoma's going to probably go in with a couple losses at that point in time. Oklahoma looks good right now. Texas doesn't.
Yeah, Oklahoma continues to look good. Texas continues to look bad. Archie, you can say he's overrated or not overrated. The problems they have though are much bigger than Archie Manning.
Oh yeah.
I mean, their lines are weak. Their secondary is poor. I mean, it's an ugly Texas team down there. But Texas coach is not in danger. He's not.
No.
Yeah.
No.
They think that he hung the moon. Penn State, on the other hand, they're a good team,
They are.
and like you said, they'll bounce back. They're not going to turn around and lose to a Minnesota next time. I forget who they play next, but they'll bounce back. They still have a 10-2 season in front of them.
Yeah, Brian, what do you think? Do you think Oklahoma has the upper hand this weekend in that game against Texas?
You got to give it to them. They're looking better to this point in the season. I think Oklahoma's defense is better than Texas's defense, and what we've noticed is Arch Manning struggles against good defenses.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the biggest point, like you said, Sarkisian's not going anywhere. They're going to keep him in Texas. I think Texas is in a little bit better spot as far as like their coaching position and everything. But if you look at Penn State and Franklin, even Penn State fans are saying Franklin needs to go. It's been several years now that he hasn't been able to get over the hump. When do you make that change?
Let me throw this out to you. Here's Penn State's schedule the rest of the year. This weekend they play at home against Northwestern.
That's a win.
Should get it. Then they're on the road to Iowa. Yeah, Iowa may be down this year, but you never want to play Iowa in Iowa City. Then they're on the road at Ohio State. They go back home for Indiana. They're on the road against the Michigan State team. They're at home for Nebraska and on the road for Rutgers. I mean, you got the Rutgers and you got the Northwestern game in there that I could probably say, yeah, they're going to win those. The rest of them, right now, the way they look against UCLA, I don't know.
That's
Yeah.
a schedule.
It is. It's a very tough schedule for Penn State on the way out.
Yeah, with them losing,
Michigan State, Rutgers are probably wins. I think Iowa's a win. I don't think they beat Ohio State. I don't think they beat Indiana.
No.
well, if
And
you
I'm a
look at it,
homer, so I still think that Nebraska will win that game.
I honestly think Penn State could go out with a couple more losses, and if they do, Franklin's gone. He has to be gone at that point.
I mean, I would think anything 4 losses or more this year, Penn
Yeah.
State, especially being ranked number 1 in some polls, number 2 in others at the beginning of the year.
And from some things I saw, they have a $30 million roster.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that's a lot.
Now here's Texas on the way out. They've got Oklahoma this week. Then they're at Kentucky, at Mississippi State. They're home to Vandy, at Georgia, home to Arkansas, and home to A&M. So they're again, A&M, Georgia, Vandy, they're not given. You know, the rest of
Mississippi State. That's why I asked that question. I knew they had them on the schedule. Mississippi State's not a bad team.
no,
I mean they're a middle of the pack team.
If you're gonna get
the SEC,
if you're going to get a Mississippi team, it's better to get them than Ole Miss. Though.
I'm just saying, Texas is anyone that's middle of the pack or better is going to be Texas.
Well, let's say Kentucky and Arkansas are wins.
Yep.
The rest of them,
Who knows?
who knows? That's
Right.
what I'm saying. You know,
So let's say Texas gets 6 losses. I think they're delusional down there. I think their coaching staff is still safe.
I really do. I think Sarkisian coming from Alabama, learning under Nick Saban, I think everybody's like, okay, well,
Give him time, he'll be all right.
he's having a bad year. You know, I mean, but like Jeff said earlier, there's more to fix than just Arch Manning.
Right.
I think the game is a little quicker for Arch, maybe. Maybe he's not getting the time, but you know, if you watch any of his games, that boy does not set his feet. He's moving. He's nervous in that pocket. I don't think the line's giving him that much time to throw.
But then the core problem I see is Texas always played good defense.
Yep.
That's a staple for what their program always has been. That is not a solid defensive team.
Yep.
Like I said, they're weak. They're weak at the cornerbacks. Their linebackers are weak, and they don't get a good push.
Yeah.
They're not sacking people. They're
Yep.
yeah. And then you turn around to nervous Manning. I mean, with the defense not holding up their part of the job, more responsibilities going on a kid that's not ready for it.
Yep.
Well, this is the interesting part about Arch. You look at last year; he actually looked really good last year in the little bit that he played. So
it's a weaker competition too, Brian. He didn't
No.
really play any
No.
good team.
It's
No,
always easy to love the backup.
he
Until
had
the backup isn't the backup anymore.
I understand that, but when he came in for Ewers, the couple
Yeah.
times that he did, like he looked good. He looked like he looked
Right.
like he had the game speed down. What happened? Is what I want to know. What happened between last year and this year? Because
when
he
they
doesn't
sent
look.
him in on a spot, Judy, they probably dumbed down the offense a little bit, made it quick hitting. with less options. Because there wasn't a lot of tape on it, so people weren't prepared for it.
I mean,
he's just very streaky this year. Like he'll have like a series he looks great, and then he'll have a series he looks terrible.
here's the one thing too. If you look at their losses, one of them was in the shoe early in the season against a team that's solid in Ohio State.
Yep.
Mhm.
I'm not a Ryan Day believer. And then they had to go to Florida. They had to go to the Swamp. And like Jeff said last week, the Swamp is a very tough place to play. No matter how good Florida is or isn't that year, you go into the Swamp, it's tough.
Yep.
It is
Right.
tough.
Especially when they think they have a chance.
Yeah.
And they thought they had a chance.
Yeah. And they did.
And they did. What a game.
Yeah. Well, guys, for the first time all year long this week, Nebraska's on the road.
Oh my God! Here
They
we
head to
go.
Maryland. And the one question I have, and I'm going to ask Jeff first on this one, is that offensive line good enough to take them to the playoffs, Jeff?
We got to take one game at a time.
I understand.
One game at a time.
I'm just asking because
how everything folds out. We have a schedule that's manageable.
it is. But Michigan State should have been one of those games, and we talked about that last
And
week.
we ended up 9-0. We won that game by 9. I mean, it was nit and tuck most of the way.
Yes.
But we sit. Notice it was a very windy day.
Mm-hmm.
No team scored against the wind, which is why that game looked the way it did.
And I understand that.
You take the wind out of that game, Nebraska wins that game by 2 touchdowns.
But is it Raiola holding on to the ball too long, or is the offensive line just not blocking?
I think it's more about Raiola holding on to the ball too long.
Okay.
But the offensive line is not that good. I mean, that's why we have a lack of run game. They can't blow a hole through a wet paper bag.
It's not like the old Nebraska line.
Absolutely. I mean, but they Raiola and Holderson's finding ways around that. They turned a quick passing game into kind of a run game.
They did.
And they had some ingenious plays. Some that counter that we scored the touchdown on, that was well designed, and no one was looking for it.
Yep.
And for them to manage the schedule, they're going to have things like that regularly. Not necessarily a counter, but they're going to have to come up with new little intricacy plays in the red zone to score.
Brian, what were your thoughts on the game last week at Memorial Stadium?
I watched a little bit of the game. I just want to see Nebraska put together a full game.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't done it for years. But and this is where hold on.
2 weeks ago, we won a close game that we would have lost. I mean, Michigan State again. That's a game we would have lost last year or the year before because we would have folded.
I will agree. The Cincinnati and the Michigan State games this year, both would have probably been losses 2 years ago.
Absolutely.
No, okay. So now look at Cincinnati. Now, are they better than what they are? Now let's say they would have played later in the season. Do you still think that's a win? Because Cincinnati looks really good.
Yeah.
Cincinnati looks really good.
They look really good because they're playing in the Big 12, lesser opponents.
But they're still putting together good games. They
put together good teams. So is Nebraska.
All I'm saying,
lost to Michigan, and
Mm-hmm. 15.
They're ranked 15, and they're going to be ranked higher before this is over.
Now,
all I'm saying though is that I haven't seen Nebraska put together a complete game. Let's put together a complete game.
I feel like you're not giving them credit for the games they put together because that is a complete game. What we did with Michigan State, that was a fourth quarter onslaught that finished. We finished the game.
No, that's a
Cincinnati yet again. That was a whole game. We fought nit and tuck all the way through that game, and then turned around and finished. I mean, And look at who we shut down in Cincinnati. That quarterback is the #1 rated quarterback in the Big 12. That guy has got a quarterback rating of 126. Take out the Nebraska game. Who
No,
was lit up? Who lit us up? Who lit us up? What quarterback lit us up?
no.
None.
All I'm
We're
saying, Jeff.
like the 5th or 6th rated passing
defense, yes. Passing defense, I give it to Nebraska. Their pass defense is great.
That's right.
The run defense,
not
so good.
Not so good.
I'm not trying to say anything here about it. I'm just trying to say we got to look at the goods and the bads.
Look at the goods and the bad. But
the lines on both sides of the ball for Nebraska right now are not as solid as.
But take Michigan, for example, which is probably the best rounded team we played.
Yes.
Right? We still took the pass completely away.
Yeah.
I mean, we drilled them. Yes, they had 4 plays that averaged over 60 yards. I mean, they had 4 60-plus yard plays. You take those away, god damn, we're right there. It's just we gave up 4 big plays.
Yeah.
Nebraska in the Michigan game, their run defense cost them that game. In my opinion.
Okay, you're right. But what I'm saying is in that rush defense that we had, only 4 of them hurt us. We were holding them to 2-3 yards carry, except for those 4 plays.
Right.
But not a quarterback hasn't lit us up since Cincinnati on their running, because Michigan State's quarterback was kind of a runner, and
Michigan's quarterback had some big runs.
He had one of the big ones.
Yes. But also their defense basically gave Nebraska on one of the scoring drives because they had them 4th and 14, and then the idiot goes over and does whatever in front of the bench, which is stupid, but you take that out of there.
Yeah, but that's Michigan. They're thugs. They've always been thugs. They coach that way. They play that way.
Well, let's talk about this weekend's game, Jeff. 4-1 Nebraska. They're going into 4-1 Maryland.
That's right.
And I'm not saying Maryland is Ohio State or Indiana or any of those. But
they're a good team.
They're 4-1. They lost against Washington as their only loss, and it was a 4-point loss. Washington, not a horrible team, not a great team, not a horrible team. But Nebraska's first game on the road.
And we have not done well on the road.
Right.
All of Rule's career, we have not done well.
I've been talking about the Minnesota game all year. How that one scares me. I think I'm more scared of the Maryland game this weekend than I am of the Minnesota game in 2 weeks.
Well, we're not talking about the Minnesota game because that's 2 weeks away.
Right.
One game at a time. And all the fear is now on Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
I hope the Nebraska team's listening to this, because they should be sitting there thinking about killing Maryland. And that's all that should be on their mind. No pussy, no music, no TV. They should be thinking about killing Maryland. I mean, that should be eating, talking, sleeping, and that's why they went up there early. They left yesterday.
Yeah.
Because Rule's worried about it. He wants them in tone. He is a 2:30 game. He wants them in that type of schedule, and he wants to control every hour of their day for the next 4 days.
Yeah. So,
because it's a real game. I mean, and
it's not a walkover.
It's not a walkover.
It's not a Houston Christian.
That's right.
Like that.
And as I keep saying, 10-2 is still in our. It's out there. It's there. We can do this.
Yep.
But every game matters.
They have to show up and they have to play every game.
Every game
to be 10-2.
We are not good enough to take a week off and accidentally win one.
Right.
We take a week off. We do what Penn State did. We drop one to UCLA like we did last year.
The schedule is there, but they still have to show up and play the game.
Yep.
So, well, guys, let's go on. 3 teams have very interesting.
Wait, hold on.
Go even!
Down Terps.
3 teams. And Brian, I'm going to give you one. Jeff will give you one. I'll talk about the other one. Missouri, Indiana, Illinois. Can they play spoiler this weekend? Illinois at home against Ohio State, Indiana on the road in Eugene against Bryant's Ducks, and Mizzou at home taking on the DeBoer-led Bama Crimson Tide. All three of these teams ranked in the top 25, taking on higher ranked teams. Can any of these three teams pull that upset, Brian? What do you think? Indiana at Oregon. Does Indiana stand a shot?
Absolutely. They absolutely stand a shot. However, it'll be interesting to see how that game goes because, Indiana blew out Illinois here a couple weeks ago. Nobody saw that coming at all. I didn't see it coming.
Not a
Um,
blowout.
not a blowout like that. And then
I
Illinois
think
turned around,
I was pretty definite Illinois was going to win that.
Yeah, me too.
and then Illinois turned around and looked good the next week.
Yeah, they
Now,
looked back.
what I'm worried about now is Oregon went up and played a really hard fought game in Penn State.
Yep.
Now that Penn State lost to UCLA,
Hmm.
what does that win mean? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, but I do think that Oregon's probably going to pull this game out. However, I think it's going to be a nitty gritty game, just like the Penn State game was. I think it's going to go down to the
scoring?
wire. What was that?
High scoring?
I think it will be higher scoring than the Penn State game, but I don't see it being high scoring.
I think both teams are going to score in the 30s.
Yeah, me
You
too.
think?
I think it'll be like 35-30,
Mhm.
35-33. I mean, I think it'll be last guy owes the ball wins that game.
The quarterback from Indiana looks tough right now.
Right. I think Oregon has just a shade better defense than Indiana does.
Two great coaches, Signati and Lanning, each other too. I mean, both of them.
Both of them cocky as shit.
Yeah, I know. I love it.
I mean,
Bring 'em on.
you got you got two coaches that just doesn't understand how they would lose.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, this is going to be fun to watch.
Yep. Jeff, what do you think? Illinois hosting the number one ranked team in the nation, the Ohio State Buckeyes. Does Altmaier and Bellama have a game plan? I mean, I know they have a game plan, but do they have that they can pull off and beat Ohio State?
I still like Illinois. I think they're a gritty team. I can't believe what happened in Indiana. I just really that took me off guard. I don't know what to think about it. I actually went back and watched that game. It wasn't one that I had on my list to watch, but I went back and watched it.
It was ugly.
It was ugly. I mean, it was ugly. That was a woodshed. That was a woodshed meeting. I mean, Illinois came out of the locker room at half, and they should have got on the buses. They should have went back to the field. I don't think they got enough. I think Ohio State does what Ohio State does, just beats them up slowly and owns the fourth quarter.
High scoring, close game. What are you thinking?
I think it'll be close through the beginning of the third quarter, and then Ohio State will pull away and do whatever they want.
Well, the other game we're talking about, Alabama traveling into Columbia to play the Missouri Tigers, and for the first time in my life, I am going to say I think Missouri wins this by 10.
Wow.
I think Missouri, I've watched Missouri play a couple times this year. Growing up a Jayhawk fan, I hate Missouri. Sorry if we have any Tiger fans out there watching.
Nah, I'm with you.
Not
As a
not
Nebraska
huge,
fan, Missouri's
not a huge Missouri fan. I have watched them. They're not a team with big superstars, but they play together as a team. They win. They know how to win. Alabama's coming in after a big win last week over Georgia.
Didn't see that coming.
I didn't either. And now Kalen DeBoer has got to bring his guys down off that high because they've got another tough one this week. I think Missouri catches them. I think it's a trap game for Alabama. I think those guys will
Who's Bama play next? You're not ready for that one?
I was not ready for that one, Jeff.
I'm kind of curious because that's how you set a trap.
Yeah. But you got, coming off that Georgia game is what I'm looking at. And
Did you watch it?
What's that? I'm sorry.
Did you watch that Bama Georgia game?
Yes, I did. That was a really good game, actually. And actually, Georgia and Tennessee the week before was a really good game. So
Yeah,
it's like
before.
Two weeks before.
2 weeks before. But yeah, the Bama game,
But Bama and Georgia, that look like two playoff teams getting it on.
So
yeah,
what do they have to do after Missouri? They host Tennessee.
See, you're right. That's a damn trap game.
You know, I mean, you
Because
look at
Tennessee's a much bigger opponent,
yeah,
and they just beat Georgia. So
and Missouri's ranked 14th in the nation right now.
I'm just saying they could be looking
But I mean,
over Missouri, thinking about that Tennessee match.
you talk about schedules. Alabama goes to Missouri, home to Tennessee, at South Carolina, who Lenora Sellers, if he's playing good, can lead his team to a victory. Then they are at home to LSU. Then they're home to Oklahoma. And then they end the year with Eastern Illinois University or eyes, ears, no, throat, no.
Well, they have some weak at the end,
Yeah,
but the rest of that schedule, that's brutal.
it is. And then they end, of course, in the Iron Bowl against Auburn, like they always do. But you know, it's not an easy game. You've got Missouri.
You know, you look at that.
Tennessee.
That makes Missouri kind of a must win.
Yeah, I mean, and you look at Missouri's schedule on the way out. They've got Auburn on the road after Alabama, so they don't have a big game after Alabama. So you know they're focused here. Then they do travel to Vandy, home to A&M, home to Mississippi State, at Oklahoma, and at Arkansas to end the year. But
That's manageable
You know,
for them.
Missouri, they've had two close games this year, South Carolina and Kansas, both at home. They do get Bama at home. So I think it's a trap game, and I think Missouri wins it by 10.
I wouldn't be surprised. Missouri does look good. So I wouldn't put it as a surprising deal if it did happen, but I don't know. After the Georgia game, Bama looked pretty good. So maybe Kellen DeBoer's getting it turned around in Alabama.
Well, you know, last year, guys, moving on here, we saw Arizona State from the Big 12 come into the college football playoffs. Almost pulled off the big upset against Texas. Caleb Scatterboot gone. Right now, though, guys, there's a team out of that Big 12 that looks very strong. That's Texas Tech. Do they have a shot if they hold on and get in the college football playoffs the way they're playing now? Do they have a shot at winning a game or two in the playoffs? They spent a lot of bringing a lot of guys in this year.
You know, the thing I love about the new playoff is that anybody has a shot. You know, that I like that it's 12 teams now. I think 4 was just not enough. But what I do like about the way the playoffs are now is that you can't really count anybody out. Yeah. You really can't. Because honestly, you look back at last year and the way Oregon went into the playoffs, did you see them lose in the first round? No, nobody did see that.
But they did Ohio State right away, and
they pulled a bad pull.
They did.
Yeah, but what I'm saying though is that just shows anybody.
How you asked it in general, no, we would have seen. A lot of people picked Ohio State to beat them.
Right, yeah. But going in
right here,
right, I get that, but also nobody saw Arizona State doing what they did either in the playoff. Besides Derek, right
there. But you're right.
But I think it's really good for college football to have that. And what I will say is I don't think anybody has a non-shot in the playoff if they get in. Everybody's got shots.
This is the great thing. Everyone kept saying, you know, there's no reason to expand the playoffs because the top 4 teams are still going to be the top 4 teams. Our very first playoff showed that that's wrong.
Yeah.
This is a single elimination. Anyone can beat anyone on any given Saturday. And God damn it, just because you're the top 4 by opinion doesn't mean that you walk through a 12 teams venue. I mean, Ohio State, they wouldn't even made it if it was still 4 last year.
Yeah.
And they were points away from not making it this year because Nebraska had them on the ropes. Mm-hmm. Nebraska win that game, they're not in the playoffs.
Yep.
Right.
Now, the group of 5 will send 1 team to the playoffs, right?
Yes.
Could they send 2? Because if you guys have been paying attention, the American Conference has 4 teams. at the top with 1 loss. 2 are ranked top 25. You have Memphis, you have South Florida, you have North Texas, and you have Navy, all sitting atop the American Conference. Do you think one of those 4 will be the team to transfer into there with looking at the other group of 5 teams? I mean, their only loss this year out of those 4 teams is South Florida, and they lost to Miami, the number 2 team in the nation, who looks like a national title contender right now, in my opinion.
They got playmakers.
Yeah,
You know, I would not think that their defense can hold some people, but I think their offense, they got enough playmakers to run with anyone.
yeah.
You know, I think in a defensive struggle, I don't know if that'll work out for them. But if they can run, they can move the ball, and they can score quick.
Brian, what do you think about those 4 teams, though? Memphis, North Texas, South Florida, and Navy.
You know, I don't know. I think South Florida's probably got the better resume. You know, even though they lost to Miami, it's still
They
not a
beat
bad
Florida.
loss. Yeah, that's not a bad loss. They beat
And they
Florida.
trounced Boise State.
Yeah, but
The problem with getting them to get 2 in, the SEC is strong.
It is. It is.
The Big Ten is strong.
You're right.
And
Big 12, ACC at least get 1,
they at least get 1, and the Big 12's looking like they might slip 2 in.
or the ACC might slip 2 in.
I don't think the ACC's down.
You got Miami?
Miami's gonna beat the shit out of everyone else in the conference.
I don't see the Big 12 getting 2.
But here's the thing.
Really?
If Miami goes undefeated all year and gets beaten in the ACC title game by somebody, does Miami get in with a 1 loss? That's what I'm
Yes.
saying right there. Miami should be in.
Then you get your 2.
In the Big 12, you don't have that luxury right now because, say, Texas Tech runs the table, and in the Big 12 title game, they get beat by somebody.
By Utah.
Does Texas Tech get in with 1 loss over a Miami team? I mean, Tech is ranked like 9th in the nation right now, but I don't foresee that happening. And I think these teams, they all play each other, I believe, in the American Conference. So I don't know that, you know, they're going to end up with, you might have 1 undefeated, 1 with 1 loss.
The only way they get in is if one of these scenarios
Right.
don't happen.
Right.
Miami's got to wax them.
Yeah.
Texas Tech or Utah got to own it.
Texas Tech's already beat Utah. Utah's sitting with what, 1 loss
Yeah.
already. And so who knows if they pick up another 1 or 2 losses this year. Who knows what can happen there. So, but it's going to be another great week in college football. Got a lot of big games going on this week. I mean, as we've been talking about here, I can't wait to see what happens with the college football schedule.
Yeah. It's an amazing year. And knowing that there's 12 teams that are going to battle it out at the end, everybody's still alive.
Yep.
You know, and 6,
Mhm.
you know, and this is what football's supposed to be. We robbed ourselves of decades of this. Does that say?
No,
Yeah.
we're in.
I do got to say one thing. I don't know if you guys watch college football game day. I don't know if you pay attention to it or not, but you know, Pat McAfee has the 33-yard kick where he gives money away to college students. I love it. You watched it last week. I just got to say, Pat McAfee, Kirk Herbstreit, I would love to just meet those guys one time and thank them for doing that kind of stuff, because last week, a young lady had her name drawn. She was like a chemical engineering degree. She was talking about how much that money would help her parents. She had never kicked a football in her life. She had never played sports from the way it sounded in her life. Got up, kicked the ball, went about 5 yards, maybe got this high off the ground. Pat McAfee turned around. He goes, I'm going to tell you what. You get 1 more shot, but it's Kirk Herbstreit. If he can throw the ball through the uprights, I'm going to give you $300,000. Herbstreit laced it right down the middle, cleared the goalpost. I mean, the look on that young lady's face was just amazing. And you know, college game day, yeah, they break stuff down. I love that about them too. But what they do for the people that they're at
fans.
those games, you know, they give these kids an opportunity to win some money to help them with school. And Pat McAfee, Kirk Herbstreit, all those guys up there, I just, fantastic human beings. But gentlemen,
Shout out.
let's move on to the big boys, the pros.
The NFL weekend.
And I want to start out the Bills and the Eagles, last two undefeated teams going in. Is there really, after last weekend, is there really a contender in the AFC or NFC that you can look at right now and say, that's a team going to the Super Bowl? We've said it before in the past years. Eagles lose at home to the Broncos and didn't really look good in that second half. The Bills lose at home to Drake May-led New England Patriots. I mean, both of those games, guys, we have no undefeated teams left in the NFL right now. Miami Dolphins 72 team was celebrating the other night already.
Yeah.
And going into this week, I thought, Eagles, Bills, they look good. They do. Like you said, the Eagles find a way to win. Last week, it was like they found a way to lose. And the Broncos came in and took that away from them at home. Both teams losing at home to teams that I wouldn't say are big-time Super Bowl contenders this year.
I disagree.
What's that,
I
Ryan?
disagree. Let's look at the Philly-Denver game. Denver, up until last week, hadn't trailed in the fourth quarter all year long, but they had 2 losses.
Right.
It's because they ended on a kick twice.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's say they win them games. They go in there. They have one of the best defenses in football. Denver is really good on defense. Now they just are starting to figure out the offensive side. Now let's look at the at the end of that game. At the end of that game, yes, Philly let them come back and take the lead.
Mm-hmm.
But they put everything on the field at the end to get down there, and actually, their hand was on the ball on the Hail Mary pass. Yeah. And let's say they call that second pass interference that wasn't called. That takes that ball down to the 3-yard line. If they have that call, Philly wins that game. They're not going to not get in from 3 yards away. So, and Jalen Hurts, whether you like him or hate him, he's playing good football. He's playing really good football. He hasn't turned the ball over at all this year. And that was his hindrance all year long.
Let me ask you this. Last year when they needed a play, who did they go to? They went to Saquon last year, right? Have he figured out how Saquon works in that Philly or in the Eagles scheme? And I know that offensive line is depleted right now. They are way down. They're not the same offensive line they were last year. But Saquon is not having anywhere close to what he did last year.
And I actually called this earlier in the year because you asked if the Saquon have to have a 2,000-yard rushing season for them to be as good as they were last year. I don't think so. I think, well, if you look at last year, Saquon's all of his yards came in the second half. What Philly's not doing now is running him in the second half like they did last year.
Right.
So, to me, as long as they're winning, I don't really care. And honestly, besides A.J. Brown, they really don't care who's getting the stats. As long as they win, they care. That's all that matters. But
I have A.J. Brown fantasy football. I'm telling you, he's not getting stats.
Well, he got his targets last week. But
he has targets, he didn't get no points.
But, I wasn't surprised that Philly lost that game because I kind of saw Denver going in there and maybe getting that win because Denver's had 2 really close losses, and if they get them with that, let's say they get the field goals blocked or whatever, they're undefeated at this point. So I honestly think Denver's a way better team than what people were thinking with the 2 losses.
But now the Eagles are looking at having a 2-game losing streak after this week's game. Jeff, let's move on to the Bills losing at home to the Patriots. Who did the Eagles play this week?
Giants.
Yeah, I know.
It's going to be their second loss. I thought we were gonna talk about that coming up. I've been biting my tongue over here. I mean, come on.
The Bills at home against the Patriots. Did the Patriots expose something on that Bills team?
You didn't see that coming. No one saw that coming.
No.
And they play that game again. Bills walk all over them. But
At home
yeah,
in
it,
Orchard Park.
it doesn't make no sense. You know, the win don't make no sense. And if they expose something, it's gonna. Yeah, I don't think so. I think the Bills had something going on internally. They were off. They had a bad day, and they just need to write that off and move on. The majority of the NFL right now is being controlled by injuries. There's a lot of them, and they're in key positions everywhere. Offensive and defensive lines are decimated.
Yep.
The whole country is just, I mean, it's a war zone out there. And the teams that are least affected by it are the ones that are still standing. Not necessarily the better teams in the country, hence Denver being what they are. They don't have all the injuries that everybody else has. Therefore, they look like a good team. That team still sucks.
All right. So we talked about it a little bit. Brian, 30 seconds. Why did the Eagles beat the Giants this week?
It's pretty simple. They're just an all-around better team, than the Giants. But I am a little worried about that Giants defense. That front four is really good. I just don't see the Giants having even a firepower to even put it close. I think the Giants are in a world of hurt. They lost to the Saints last week, which were not a very good. So
Yeah, 30 seconds. Why do you think the Giants will be?
First go to why they lost to the New Orleans last week. You got two rookies running the show on the offensive side. They had rookie mistakes for the first time. Dart lost a fumble, unhit, touched, running around the outside, just threw the ball up in the air basically. Scatterboo had his first fumble in the NFL going into the end zone. Those things hurt. But now, you take away all of the turnovers and everything, and all of a sudden, defense looks really, really good. In front four, my ass. That front seven is probably the best front seven on the defensive side of the country. And now we're moving the ball. Dart is the man. This is Eli Manning 2.0, and we are coming for the Eagles, who are just, they're just taking up space while everybody else is getting their shit in order. That's a good 30 seconds?
It was. Any bets between you two going into this week's game?
Oh, I'm in.
what do you think, Jeff? What do you think?
What do we got here? I think face painting.
Loser
Face
like the opposing team.
Yeah.
So he'll wear
Okay.
I'll put green with a little eagle on or little feathers on the side
for next week's show.
Brian,
you do the blue
you
with
do
the
the
old
blue with the white MG.
I'll do it. I'm up for that.
Okay, y'all heard it. We're face painting next week.
All right, guys, let's move on.
We have the blue show.
Talking about MVPs of the league, and I know it's early right now. You always have Josh Allen in the hunt. You always have
I heard
some of these other ones. I want to ask you guys, should Baker Mayfield be placed in the MVP race right now?
Absolutely.
4-1.
They're 4-1. He's thrown what, 2 interceptions the whole season. He's averaging a quarterback rating of like what was it, 129.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, the man should be being talked about.
The only game that they lost so far this year was to Brian's Eagles, and that was a first half debacle by the Buccaneers, letting that punt return for a touchdown. They didn't play well. And Mayfield's doing this.
So Mayfield wasn't the reason they lost that game.
No.
Special teams and defense failed that day.
Yep. And defense stepped up last week. How about the former Husker Levante David intercepting Sam Darnold late in the game to give the chance to win? They're doing this also, guys, without Mike Evans. They're doing this last week without Bucky Irving.
And despite Godwin was out there, he didn't do nothing.
No. But did you hear Baker's comment he made? Baker said, man, I'm going to have to get back in the weight room to hit Ibuka. I can't throw it as far as he can run.
I did not know
But
that.
Abuka's stepped up. The defense is stepping up. They have won a lot of close games this year, but as Brian always says about the Eagles, they find a way to win at the end. They find a way to win at the end. And, you know, I mean, it may be different talk 5 weeks from now, but I was just wondering, do you guys think Baker is in that talk?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I would agree. Absolutely. He I think is the biggest reason they're playing as well they are. Honestly, he adds that fire, he adds that grit.
He's
That's
a
what the
leader.
Bucks,
You
because
know, I
they
mean,
don't, let's be honest, they don't get it from Bowles.
no.
Bowles isn't that rah coach.
No.
But Baker Mayfield's that heart of that team. He really is.
All right, guys, talking about another quarterback that's not in the running for the MVP race, but he is making his start this week for a different team that he got traded to. Old man Joe is heading to Cincinnati.
Joe
And
Flacco.
Flacco is going to be the starting quarterback for the Bengals. And you guys, you want to talk about a division that going into this season, we were talking about the Ravens being a good team, the Bengals being a good team, the Steelers being a good team. The Browns would be able to hold their own with that defense.
Hey, you forgot. Kansas City was supposed to be a good team.
No, I'm talking out of the North Division of the AFC. Those four teams.
That is those list.
The Bengals are horrible
Yeah.
without Joe Burrow. The Ravens are horrible and even worse without Lamar Jackson.
Now, Joe Flacco, though, back to him, he's going in. This is probably the most talented offense that he's ever had. Minus offensive line.
He has got a lot of great players, but that's the whole key right there. He does not have an offensive line, and he is not mobile.
He is not old.
Joe Burrow can attest to the fact that you got to be behind that offensive line. How do you think Flacco's going to do in Cincinnati, guys?
I honestly think it's going to end bad. I really do. I really hope for his sake he doesn't have anything like Alex Smith had in Washington or anything like that. He's old, you know.
Yeah, he's old. I mean, Joe, the stone-footed Flacco. And now he's going to the worst offensive line in the league. I mean, they had 31 sacks last year on Burrow.
Mm-hmm.
He could be dead by halftime. And I'm not using the word dead as a. I mean, he could actually die out there.
You're not using it as a metaphor.
Yeah, that's not a metaphor. That's a medical fact that could be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're gonna watch that game because, well, you don't want to miss it. Someone actually dying on the football field. I mean, you got to tune in.
Well, you almost saw it with Damar Hamlin a couple years ago.
Well, and we were watching.
Yeah.
And it was scary. And we could have that moment again.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to end well at all. That Cincinnati offensive line is god awful. They are the worst offensive line in football. Period.
But guys, the whole AFC North right now, Pittsburgh should win that division without even trying.
Yeah. They lose games and they're not. I mean, wow.
Because they got old man Aaron in the backfield backing them, you know? I mean,
The Ravens are horrible.
I understand the Ravens are going to get Lamar back, but does that mean anything right now?
No, they're 1-4. They're 1-4.
He'll be better than Cooper Rush, but Derrick Henry is like a non-factor right now. I mean, Derrick
He was
Henry
a non-factor before he got hurt.
Yeah,
they were not using him, and
No.
yet again, they're not using him now that they need him.
I know, and that's what I don't understand. What John Harbaugh is doing. I mean,
I'm starting to think John Harbaugh's not that good of a coach.
I've always had respect for the guy. I always thought he was a good coach, but you know, he's not doing it.
I'm saying Jim would do better.
Yeah, he'd find a way to cheat, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. But Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh is a good coach. He finds a way to get his teams to the playoffs, and I think that's what he's going to do this year with them.
So I got
not 31, 48 times.
48 times?
Yep. Our man Presley Barker says 48 times is how
I got a
Burrow
question.
got sacked last year.
I got a question for you guys. So far this year through through the little bit of the season we have, is this the strangest start to an NFL season you've seen in a while?
Yes.
It's
by
just
what
crazy.
you thought you were going to see to what we are seeing. Yes.
But like back to Derek's original question, nobody really stands out at this
No.
point. It honestly, and it's not just me being a homer, they are the defending champions and they look decent. You got to beat the defending champions. They're the only ones that are actually looking
The
somewhat
Bills
like they were.
and Eagles are the only two. Well, Buccaneers too. They're at least consistent at this point, which you're not seeing anywhere else in the league.
I got one other team that I'm going to bring up to you guys, and that will take me into my next topic, which I am going to bet for a second on. The Indianapolis Colts, led by Danny Dimes Jones,
Christ.
are 4-1. They've got one. You're a hater.
I don't
Jones.
know much haters.
But you got to admit, he is having a good year.
How?
Indianapolis has Jonathan Taylor healthy. They have Pittman, who has just come out of nowhere and been great this year. They are one loss. That one loss to the LA Rams. Why did they lose that game? Because of my next one, which cost Arizona a game. Why in the hell do receivers, running backs think it's cool to drop the ball at the half-yard line and let it go through the back of the end zone and get a touchback? DeMcCarta from Arizona. They were up 21-3 on probably the worst team in the league, Tennessee, last week.
Yep.
He breaks away through there, gone for a touchdown. Ball comes out of his hand at the half-yard line, goes through the end zone. What happens? Tennessee comes back, wins the game, 23-21 or 22-21. What goes through your mind when you're running through there? Barry Sanders never did that. Sanders handed the ball to the ref. Emmitt Smith never did that. I mean,
no one ever did that.
But
no one did the drop.
But you had A.D. Mitchell from Indianapolis in that Rams game, which cost the Colts a perfect season so far. And they had the Rams beat if he just goes in and scores, but he drops the ball at the 1 yard line. And DeMcCardo does the same thing last week for Arizona. It leads to a loss. I mean, I just don't understand.
Yeah, I can't wrap my head around it. It's unbelievable. I mean, kids these days. I mean, where does this come from?
Yeah.
Well, the first one that I really remember was Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah.
For the Eagles. From that day forward, every time I see it, I'm like, why? Why do you do that?
You're like,
Act
what?
like you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Why do you do that? Like, just hand the ball to the ref. Act like you've been there before. You know,
there's no reason to drop it by the goal line. Take 3 steps in and drop it behind your ass.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, whatever, but there's no reason to put it so close to that goal line. I mean,
yeah.
Why even put the doubt in anyone's mind?
Why even make them think about it?
Yeah. I mean, it's led to losses. And, you know, Arizona didn't have a bad season going right now. They were playing good football. They didn't have a bad season going. They win that game at home against Tennessee like they should have. And now, who knows what path that will set the Cardinals off.
But I got one thing. Both Arizona and Indiana, where are their coaches from? Philly.
Yeah.
They're from Philadelphia. Gannon came, he was the offensive coordinator for Philly when they went to the Super Bowl and the first time. And then the Indianapolis coach is from Philly. He was the defensive coordinator. So they're doing well. So, and that's what I was worried about with Philly losing them guys. So
thinking as one of the co-founders of this show, right? I don't think we should talk about Indianapolis for the rest of the year.
We will talk about Daniel Jones and the Colts because I think their year is going to continue to be good this year. They've got a lot of great players. Their defense is playing solid ball right now. Houston was the odds-on favorite to win that AFC South to begin the year, but right now, Indianapolis and Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence is rejuvenated. Travis Etienne has rejuvenated down there. Both those teams look really strong right now. We saw Jacksonville take down Kansas City. a good game Monday night. Jacksonville just had the ball late.
Yeah, the sad thing is about Kansas City, you can't really put in something that's going wrong. They're
No.
just not good overall.
I think their defense has let them down. You know, the past few years when they've been really good, their defense has been very, very solid. And right now, I think Mahomes is putting up. I mean, you talk about most valuable players, and I know Kansas City's only 2-3 right now, but you got to have Mahomes in that talk for what he has done for that team so far this year. You take him off that team, they might be 0-5. Mahomes
Yep.
has kept them in those games by doing Mahomes things. And when you look at what he has done, the thing is though, like we talked, we're only 5 weeks into an 18-week season. And you can see Kansas City with 3 losses at the end of the year very easily. I mean,
Mhm.
you could, but
No, how they're playing, they're going to pick up a couple more along the way.
I'm not saying they won't, but I'm saying if something
I mean,
triggers,
I don't think they're going to miss the playoffs, but
yeah.
they're definitely not going to be a home field advantage.
Yep.
They're going to have to go on the road.
Speaking of that, Brian, week 5, we're through, we're done. We picked our Super Bowl at the beginning of the year before the season even came to a start. Right
Mhm.
now, who would you take to go to the Super Bowl?
I'm still taking Philly out of the NFC. I still think Philly's probably the best team out of the NFC. And they've kind of shown it to this point. I know they lost last week to Denver, but they have shown it. You know, I'm almost going to stick with my original prediction. I think it's Kansas City and Philly in a rematch. I really do. I still stick to, I think Denver wins the division. Kansas City's a wild card, but I think Kansas City gets through in the wild card. So I'm
There goes
sticking with
that. You got a homer on the show now.
I'm sticking with my original prediction. So
I got Bills coming out of the AFC. I had Cincinnati. Man,
Sorry.
that's trash. That's trash. Without Burrow, that team can't go nowhere. I still like Detroit, but I'm starting to come around to my man's Bucks. I think they have an outside chance. Um, doesn't matter who, someone's got to knock out the Eagles. It's gonna happen. Just who's gonna do it?
I
Nope.
think I picked Kansas City to come out of the AFC, and I took the Washington Redskin Commanders
That's right.
out of the
you did.
NFC. I'm still not completely sold that Washington's season is over. Jaden Daniels looked good last week. He led them against a team that a few weeks ago we were saying was the best team in the AFC, and the Chargers. And Daniels kind of handled them the other day. I mean, the Chargers have kind of started strong and gone downhill right now.
I think that they're still reeling over the beat down the Giants gave them. Kind of set the tone.
Yeah. And now they've lost Omari and Hampton and Najee Harris. Neither one of them are playing this week for them. You know, Quentin
That was
Johnson.
a bad loss.
He is.
That guy's a stud.
And you know, Herbert started off the year looking like an MVP candidate, and now he's just not getting it done. And you know, we talked about it last week. I brought something up. They lost Alt, their big time tackle on the left side there, and that right there hurt them. I think
Right.
more than Hampton loss. You know, I mean, you got to be able to block and protect in the NFL.
It's like I said earlier when we were talking about in general. The injuries that are going on they're controlling who these teams are.
Yep. You know, you talk about the Ravens being 1-4. Look at all the injuries they have with defense.
Yeah.
And they have
It's
always
decimated.
been a defensive team. But I'm gonna stick. 5 weeks in, Chiefs Commanders Super Bowl still. Let's do it. We're going all Native American Super Bowl this year. Because I still call them the Redskins.
They'll always be the Redskins to me. I'm sorry,
That's
but
right.
they always will be.
Well, guys, we've got a great week of college football. We've got some big NFL games.
We got the challenge.
We got
the challenge.
challenge going for next week. You will all want to tune in to see which one of these guys have a little paint on their face.
We're gonna have a blue face. But I'm blue face.
Here's the great thing about it: whoever loses, you got a shot at redemption because they play twice this year.
They do.
So, all right.
Good thing about being in the right division.
We thank each and every one of you for tuning in here for a little bit of your Wednesday night time. Please, as we've always asked you, hit your friends up, hit everybody up, share it, invite it. Let's see how many we can get to. I wanted to get to 1,000 by September, so somebody would have to wear an Eagles or a Duck shirt, but that didn't happen. So we'll come up with something else. Maybe we'll make Braden shave his head. Anyway.
Love that.
All right, if we can get to 1,000 viewers by the end of October, Braden will shave his head.
We will hold him down.
We'll hold him down.
Yeah,
But
let's do this.
Brian, have a great rest of your week, my friend. We'll see you next week here. We'll talk a little more football. Jeff, as always, thank you for hosting in here. It's been a great evening. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been watching Tailgate Talk, and
we know
sports.